Through Walls by Rob.
This
So
is
that's
a historical book.
no, it's not. It's sci-fi, but it's kind of lumped together of three previous other books from Robert Heinlein
Okay.
into one kind of story, and it's cool, man. Like Heinlein definitely has some crazy ideas, and the way he kind of visions how people interact socially and stuff like that. I like that. It's cool.
Dude, props
Very
to you
cool.
for reading and going through old sci-fi books. That's pretty sick.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I had Master Ripito tell me who to read and stuff like
I
that.
know, yeah, that's good. I feel like I need to get back into reading. Before I have kids, I need to start reading again.
Yeah, you do.
That way, when they're doing
Definitely.
their third grade reading, I don't just stumble through it and then try to
Yeah.
spell the words out again. Um, but okay, so this is the weekly Strength Club stream. I'm Alex Kosari. On the bottom is what's your name, Chase?
I'm Chase Lindley,
We work for a company called
starting strength.
Starting Strength. They like barbells. We'll kind of just do Mad Libs the whole episode and shoot ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, I got a question in on email about BarPath last time. People were talking about what BarPath app or kind of software that I was using a few episodes ago. I think it was when we were actually talking about your Snatch, Chase.
Yeah.
That kind of BarPath thing. People were talking about that. Who's Isabu? We have Isabu552 here. Hello. So talking about that bar path, and then that also came up on the SS Reddit as well about what's wrong with my bar path. It'll be someone squatting like 90 pounds, they'll weigh 200 pounds. They'll be like, oh my God, my bar path isn't straight. What the hell do I do? So I wanted to cover that stuff and then just do the normal Reddit crawl that we normally do. Okay, so I guess we can get started here. Chase, how often are you using things like bar path trackers? Are you ever doing that to show anybody anything?
Never.
Never. Have you ever used it or figured it to be kind of functional?
I never have. I mean, I kind of have developed one with just my coaching eye, but
Hmm.
I think I would be more hesitant with prescribing one to like a client because if a client is already kind of just having a lot of issues with their squat, and then now we throw this thing in where it really highlights this particular issue, it can help, but I'm going to say that it doesn't. And then they get so fixated on, oh, my back angle has to be like this
Hmm.
instead of the other problem where it's like maybe it's just your hips and knees aren't breaking at the same time. You're starting on your heels. There's a various other different things that this bar path tracker isn't showing you. It's just showing the outcome of all these other fuck up mistakes.
Yeah, so it's interesting because it's showing you the outcome, and it's like, is this outcome useful? And do you
Yeah.
have the brain to kind of reverse engineer it backwards?
Hmm.
Like sometimes, if I was doing when I was used to working power cleans more often, like I would want to see. It's like, all right, when am I starting my catch underneath? When it's hitting my thighs, how forward is it going, if anything? It's kind of really helpful to be able to slow something down to like a factor of 10 and then kind of
Hmm.
very carefully look. That's because I have the tools to analyze that. If you don't have the tools to analyze it, you're just getting a bunch of information with nothing. It's like it's not dissimilar to whatever I'm sure Chase is having to do a bunch. Someone will come in and be like, "Oh, I'm bone on L5 and S1," and they have that information now, and they think it's going to impact their life, but it shouldn't
Yeah.
impact their decision making at all. There's so much shit like that. Bad knees, bad back, same with the bar path. Yeah, so I put out some points. I wouldn't say these are in priority order here, but I guess we can just kind of go 1 through 5 here. The big thing is kind of bar path versus the midfoot balance. If the lifter is balanced over midfoot the whole lift, but their bar path has fluctuations in it, would you care, Chase?
No, I mean, what I tell like my apprentices and stuff like that is if a person's not in balance, and this is mainly for every single lift except really the bench, we don't have a lift to actually go through and critique. Because if we
Hmm.
have someone who's very deconditioned and they can't hold themselves balanced at the bottom position of a squat, we don't have a squat. We have just, I mean, not even really a quarter squat where he's just barely unlocking the knees and then standing back up. So that's number one priority is always going to be midfoot balance.
Yeah, it's like if your lifter feels like they're in midfoot, the weight is going up. You can tell that the form would be sustainable for future increases. But if you look at a bar path tracking app, there's like a lot of little going on up and
Hmm.
down. Does it actually matter? I don't think it really matters at all. And this is kind of where I forget which coach it was, but someone was saying like you can kind of look at like the diagnostic foot. You can basically see in the lifter's shoe if they're really with anything, if they have bare just socks on or if they have lifting shoes on, you should be able to see where their balance point is at
Hmm.
any given time. Same thing with like say they're squatting, where their knees are, their hips, and their back ankle. So you can really you can figure out where the balance is. Like there's a ton of videos even Chase and I have seen where the lifter's feet will be cut off, but we can still tell if they're on midfoot or not.
Yeah.
You know, how do you think someone kind of develops that, Chase? Is there anything like specific that you were like, oh, I can generally tell this now immediately?
Finding the midfoot balance, generating that, or
Seeing if a lifter is on midfoot or not. I think I
gotcha. That's just thousands and thousands of repetitions.
Yeah.
What can help you though at the start? So at the start, they're locking out, all their hips and knees are in extension. That's going to be probably the easiest point of you can see if this is off balance or if they're in balance, because if someone's clearly standing on their big toes or their balls of their feet, you can see that. And they're going to have a hard time just standing in normal balance. And then as they break their hips and knees and they're halfway through it, it kind of gets a little bit more sketchier to kind of see. And then at the bottom, there's a split second from that eccentric to the concentric phase where you can really see the balance issue there.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's just thousands and thousands of reps of seeing that.
Yeah, I don't even think like I think if you kind of put all of the coaches, all the people who are just they coach a lot of squats and a lot of deadlifts, if you put them all in a room together and you said what part of the system are you looking at, not many of them are looking at the end of the barbell. No. You know, so it's like the information that you're getting, the people who are really good at their jobs, they don't really use it, right? So it may be a proxy for some relevant information, but it's not the greatest thing. And the next thing, you know, is kind of what the lifter's perception is versus the coach's eyes. We kind of talked about that. You know, do you ever find lifters overly concerned with trying to move the bar in a straight line up and down, and they're kind of forgetting the rest of the lift, or what?
I've had a few, especially like some online people who they're left to their own interpretations of, I've read the blue book and it says I need to lean over, and their back angle is not what it needs to be, and they're having a hard time balance because of that. But the majority of the time, like I'm working one-on-one with someone and I have the ability to put my hands on them and they get real time feedback. So where I can kind of just shove away their perception and then kind of override them and focus on the big thing in order to keep the system in balance.
Yeah, I think that's having basically, you know, sometimes I'll literally have to say this. I'll tell someone to think less, just do what I say. Because a lot of times with lifters, they'll hear your cue and they'll think, oh, does that mean he wants me to do X, Y, Z? We want to cut that step out. We basically just want to say a cue and then have you interpret the cue as most basically as possible. Don't think it like 3 extensions down the line, you know. That happens all the time. And I think the bar path, or especially bar path apps, they kind of do the same thing. You know, they make you kind of think a few steps down the road about how to correct it, and they don't really give you that information. Yeah. So Chase, we went over. We used some bar path apps. Really neat. When we were looking at your snatch and your clean. So do you think, what do they tell you on like a power lift, like squat, bench, deadlift, versus what they tell you on like an Olympic lift, for example?
On like a power lift, it's pretty simple. It's how are the joints moving to make, like, say for example, like the deadlift. On the start of the deadlift, it's knee extension versus hip extension. So you can see, is that lifter performing it in that order? And then are they successfully lifting the load and staying in balance due to those steps? Same thing with the press. Is the bar relatively over the shoulders, which is right over the midfoot? You can kind of see all that stuff. But with the Olympic lifts, there's a little bit more going on, right? You have a lot more extension, you have a lot more range of motion, you have a longer kinetic chain with these lifts. So that kind of can help you with breaking it down, where on your second pull, you may be bouncing the bar off your thighs, kind of like how I do in the snatch and the clean. Or you could be overcorrecting with your shoulders and it's causing a little bit of a loop in the bar path instead of coming up straight up as vertically as possible.
Yeah. So like the utility of like a bar path app on a really slow deadlift, totally useless.
Yeah.
Totally useless. Bar path app on like a snatch, for example, really helpful, I think. Because what you're doing when you're slowing it down, you're looking at the bar path, but you also get to see when the bar path is changing, where your joint angles are and how those impact that change, you know? So it's like, what are my hips doing? What are my knees doing? What are my ankles doing? And how is that fucking on my bar path, you know? So I really like them for my guys doing cleans, you know? But never really too much for the power lifts. I think When did these things start coming out? These bar path tracking apps, Chase? Do you remember? It was a few years ago at this point.
Yeah, it was probably like 5 years ago or so. I think I've heard like a few of like the SSCs at the time whenever they were doing like some online coaching. They would have like that solid green line on their screen. I'm like, what the hell is that? And
Like, look at how cool this
told me.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think like they've been, I don't want to say in vogue. They had kind of a little peak for a while. People really cared about that. The people really cared about like velocity stuff. They were like, oh, I need
yeah.
a velocity tracker, a bar path tracker, all that stuff. Yeah, not super useful. Velocity is kind of a different game, but the bar path app's not that much. What would you say to a new person who is already using it? Like we'll see this on the Reddit a little bit later. I think there were like 2 or 3 posts on there being like they would send their video in and it would already have the bar path tracker on it. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
And then for those people, it's almost always way too light for it to really ever even
Yeah.
stay at the midfoot. So could you kind of walk us through like why does that even matter? What's up with this kind of combined center of mass thing?
Yeah, so I mean, those guys are kind of getting they're getting into the complicated realm whenever they don't need to, right? At the start, the program's super simple, the exercises are super simple. Try not to make it any more convoluted than it is, right? To break it down, right? So some physics here. You have a combined center of mass, which is basically where your system is in balance. You're like for a normal person, it's about right in front of where like your bladder is. And then do the different anthropometries that kind of shifts and changes, but generally it's about right there. So whenever you stand there, your system of combined center of mass with the barbell, with these guys who are lifting very light loads, it's still going to be them. And then as you get stronger, of course, it's going to be closer to the bar, to where now the bar has to be over the balance point, which is the midfoot. As you lift, you basically are getting out of the way so that the bar can fall straight down and then come back up. As you are super heavy and the bar is not that heavy yet. So let's say like you're a 200-pound guy just now starting out and you have 65 pounds on the bar, you can make the end of the bar path you can write cursive in it, right?
Yeah.
Like you can do all these crazy shit.
That's a good one. I like that. Write cursive in it.
Yeah, but as long as that you are keeping your own center of mass over the balance point, the midfoot, that's all that matters.
Yeah, 2 terms we're working with: balance point, center of mass. We have 2 bodies involved. We have your body, the lifter, you, the dude, and then we have the barbell that's on your back or over your head or whatever the hell it is. Basically, there's a ratio between the weight of both of those, and then as one body increases and the other decreases or something to that effect, this combined center of mass will more closely approximate one of those 2 objects. So like Chase, what's your squat at right now? Like 800 pounds?
How
million
much?
pounds?
It's about like 615, 630, somewhere around
Okay, and then you weigh about 245, 6 right now?
Yep.
Okay, so he's basically kind of spot on with that bar being like, what about like 2.35 times body weight as compared to Chase. That bar is so much heavier than Chase's now. The combined center of mass is going to be probably like an inch or 2 below that barbell, basically. Right? So there's that imaginary point that we've created, the combined center of mass. That's what needs to stay over the center of balance. And the center of balance is more of what is it, Chase?
It's the midfoot.
It's the middle of the foot. It's the middle of the damn foot. We talk about it so fucking much. Part of me wants to go back and like scan through all of my emails and messages I send to all of my lifters and see how many fucking times I've said midfoot.
Oh, it's probably 1 billion times.
It's thousands, man. Yeah. It's fucking thousands. But yeah, what's the article called? Rip's article. I forget what it's called. Is it the Master Q?
Yeah, it's the Master Q.
Yeah, the Master Q. Amazing article. I don't even know when that was written at this point, but it basically kind of talks about this and then how it impacts your lifts. And the reason we're bringing this up with bar path is because if you are some guy, especially on the SS subreddit, and you've just started your squats, you're 3 weeks into squatting, you're squatting 145 and you weigh 180 pounds, you don't need to worry about your bar path.
No.
You really don't. I'm going to see if I can find this one actually that just popped up. Chase, tell us about your recent athletic activities while I'm looking for this.
So I recently went rock climbing and it was fun. Like I've been meaning to kind of branch out and kind of get a experience and different ideas about like how people are just kind of doing athletic things. Because like I've heard Alex talk about, he trains climbers and stuff like that, and how fatiguing this can be. And like I had somewhat of an idea, but man, my fucking forearms are shot. Like it, I really didn't think I was going to be able to like hold silverware to eat, but it's not that bad. But it is definitely it's it's an experience that I think everyone needs to at least attempt once, and it's fun though. It's just a bunch of grown people kind of climbing over things. It's like you're back in the day on a tree house or something like that. But
Yeah, it's
it's fun.
very playground like, which is
Yeah,
good.
it is.
Yeah. All right, so we found this gentleman here. His name is Nick Giordano, another Italian man. He's saying, "Is my bar path okay? It seems a little off," and he's squatting what seems to me actually like 145 or 140, I think. And the bar path is actually pretty straight. The whole thing is just tilted a little
Yeah.
bit forward, so it's tilted towards his toes. So, like, let's say you're looking at this squat. Does the bar path tell you anything? Do you want to do anything with this information? What do you think, Chase?
No, man, like the bar path it's totally fine, but look how much his thoracic is in extension. He is just locking that shit up and he is driving with his chest. So in our model, we want to drive with our hips and when you have a little bit more of a horizontal back angle, and this guy is not achieving that. Now, whenever we say like a vertical bar path, like if we're really looking at it in the micro scheme of things, it's not going to be a dead vertical line. There's going to be some minute changes and stuff like that, just like how this guy in the video is doing.
Yeah, first
But
rep. So it goes down here, comes up there, that difference.
but in general, we lump this all together, and you can see like his other chicken scratch stuff, and that's basically a vertical line.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he's sacrificing his diagnostic angles to achieve this, when in reality, he can change those angles to lift more effectively with more muscle mass and use more weight.
Yeah, so he's sacrificing some of the squat for chasing this kind of virtue of a vertical bar path when he just doesn't need to, like he's cranking his head up, he's super focused on upper back extension, should be focused on driving the hips up. It's basically things like this, So let this be a warning to you, young men of Reddit, who are overly concerned with bar path. Chase, I'm going to throw some videos of you climbing up on the board. I'm actually very excited about this. I did not watch this, folks, by the way. So hopefully Chase's shirt doesn't come off or something like that.
No, it doesn't.
Dude, you gotta start climbing shirtless. Were there any shirtless bros in there when you were climbing?
No, so apparently like they had this thing going on where they would they had like a lifting team or like an event, and like everyone was already in like Halloween costume attire, and like someone had like this
dude.
Like there was these two chicks that were dressed up as like jellyfishes. I'm like, how the fuck are you climbing in like this
That's
weird
a good
hat
costume
with like
idea.
Oh, I mean it looked good, but I'm like, how the fuck were y'all able to climb in that shit?
Oh, Chase, come on. You gotta get up here.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh my god. All right, everybody, just watch this and just look at the power of the glutes here. It's truly amazing. So for most people, when they wear these harnesses, the top will just kind of slide off of their butt because most people don't have any butt at all. Whereas Chase is he's just completely locked in at this point.
See, I think I fucked up. I crossed myself up there and I didn't have a handhold. I didn't have a good teacher.
No, you had your hand on. You just needed to pull yourself up, dog.
Well, so I actually got some good tips from, I forgot the girl's name, but like this chick who weighed like 80 pounds, she came over there and she was like, hey, you got to use your legs more. I'm like, well, I thought I was. And she's like, no, you need to like actually, push off your right leg. Yeah. Instead of just like hauling myself up like I'm a fucking chimpanzee.
Yeah. So like basically right here, you have a foothold here, and then also these two footholds here. You can just move your left leg or this right leg up at any point in time. So this right leg here, we'll call it bumping or matching. So like let's say like if you have your arms in a specific configuration, let's say like this, and I want to move my right hand up one more, even though it's here, I'm going to go 1, 2, that's bumping. And if I put my hands together, it's matching. So if I go here together, it's matching. With your legs, what you'll oftentimes do is like you'll get locked into a position, right? I'm here, and then you'll bump your legs up 3 or 4 times. Basically, you'll just kind of feel out higher and higher and higher, and then you just stand up. And you can stand up with like 600 pounds, Chase, so you'll be fine. Did your calves get sore at all?
No, my calves were fine. It was mainly just my fucking forearms, man, because I'm just hauling myself up. Like there was some other videos where like I kind of like off towards the side, there was like kind of like an incline. I'm just literally just like salmon lander fucking climbing the shit up.
Oh yeah, man. The underhangs are very fun. We'll pull this one up. Chase, you look so much more blonde when you're out in daylight.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty offensive.
So this one's like an easy one because it's just like the white.
Dude, the erectors that are coming through. So this moment right here is always very fun. When you swing off and put yourself back
Yeah,
on.
I felt very
Was that cool,
rock
Chase?
climbery. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had some. Of course, I'm all covered in chalk because that's the only thing that I know there is just how to get dirty in chalk.
Oh man, this is good. This is good stuff, Chase. Yeah, the big things about rock climbing, it's actually not dissimilar. Like when you're coaching kind of rock climbing, it's not dissimilar to principles with lifting at all. What you're attempting to do is to keep your center of mass as close to the wall as humanly possible. So like when Chase is hanging here and you're just like ass out, all of your weight's back here and it's just on your hands. Whereas what you kind of need to do is do these weird kind of like hip gymnastics to just hump into the wall. Like one of the cues I'll give to my male climbers a lot is just keep your penis as close to the wall as possible the entire time.
Yeah.
It should just leave a slug trail going up the wall. If there was a Sharpie at the end of it, you should draw a line. If your hips really fall away from the wall, you're carrying a lot of extra weight. Man, it's exciting, dude. You guys start climbing and prep for your Olympic meet. That'll help a lot.
Like, I just love the sick pump that I got in my fucking forearms.
Isn't it a sick pump, dude?
It's awesome.
It's such awesome a sick pump. We got to go back to the starting strength. Let me pull this up. So how's your meet prep going, dude? How many days do you got?
It's October 22nd, and I'm almost a month out, maybe like 5 weeks, 6 weeks, somewhere around there.
How you feeling about it?
Not too bad, man. Like I hit a snatch PR at 135. Hopefully I can kind of build some more momentum on that, and I would love to hit 140, but I feel like that's probably not going to happen, but at least I can manage like a 130, 132.
Are you going to go for a true third, or are you just going to like hit a confident second and just go balls out for 3?
I mean, just go balls out. I mean, I don't give a fuck. Like I'm not
balls
out.
Penis inside,
really
balls out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. So this gentleman, his name is Rybers 578, is taking a very long time to do his deadlifts. Do you think he's going to get this rep, Chase?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I think he will. I think he's summoning all the powers in his will.
No, he just stops. He just grunts and stops.
Left us on a cliffhanger.
He did. All right. So what do we think this is? This literally looks like, I think this is 225 flat. What would you do with this stance? Even if we're just looking at this stance right now.
Narrow it right off the bat.
Fucking narrow it up, dog.
Yep.
Yeah, and then that's going to change the hip height. It'll change his back extension and his chest position. What's some of the problems with going too wide, Chase?
So too wide is too wide of a grip, right? So now let's say like if he actually went really egregious, like another 3 inches wider with his stance, he's gonna have to bump out his grip to where it kind of looks like a strongman deadlift. And then 2, there's added now range of motion. So he's gonna pull that bar a little bit higher up when we don't really need to. We just want the arms to hang at a dead hang. But now there's an angle to them, so we've artificially shortened them, thus increasing the range of motion. And then also kind of like what Alex was saying, like now all the musculature is now operating differently because the angles are now different too.
Oh man. Yeah, his knees are they're trying to pull in real hard as soon as he breaks off the floor. Yeah, move your stance in, dog. You'll have a better life. This guy's named Farting Falafel. That's pretty sick.
Nice.
These are solid usernames.
What's a falafel again?
A falafel? Oh God. I don't think I've never had a falafel in my whole life. I'm ashamed. It is, yeah. If I remember correctly, I think it's like a hush puppy. Right? I think it's like a hush puppy, basically. It's like a Mediterranean hush puppy, but made with beef. All right, here we go. So falafel is a deep fried ball or patty made of chickpeas, broad beans, or nowadays, and it's served with pita. So it's basically they've taken beans and have combined them into one large bean.
Huh.
Yeah, in ball form. But this is the farting falafel.
That makes total sense if it's bean based.
Oh yeah.
Farting.
Yeah, he's constantly
Huh.
leaking pressure.
Nice.
So why is this guy squatting a little high?
He just probably doesn't even know where depth is. No,
Mhm.
but I mean, there's probably just his stance may be an issue. From right here, like it's not the best, and I can't really see, but I'm gonna assume that maybe it's a little bit too wide. I'd kind of kick in his heels a little bit. That way, he
Mhm.
can shove out his knees a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Once he frees up his knees, he kind of gets them out to the sides. His torso can fall straight down a little bit better because, like right there, they're kind of bunching up between like his legs and his gut. Have more room there, and he's going to have this sensation of going down a little bit easier.
Yeah, it just seems like he's just kind of stopping. He's stopping arbitrarily.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's doing an accidental Joel Seedman and thinking that like once his knees get to 90 degrees, he's done. They can't be
yeah,
past that
exactly.
ever. Yeah. All right, so that was farting falafel. Bless your heart, buddy. 315 for 6. All right, these are gonna be boring.
Is
It's
that dude
Rybert
reading the
again.
plaque as he was deadlifting? That was kind of an interesting.
He could be reading the names of his forefathers right in front of him.
Getting pumped up. That's his
Getting pumped up, dog. Yeah. All right. So, this is the same guy who did that deadlift. So we can check this out. Yeah. So he just likes standing wide. It's just the
Yeah, he
thing that
just
he enjoys doing.
has a lot of girth probably in between his legs. Just needs to free it up.
It just needs to free it up. Oh man, that's why I squat incredibly narrow, legs together, completely together. Oh man. So this is kind of keeping the head up in the squat. That's why we consider that to be an issue. And then the next thing is just the stance, right? Rebay or Rybert. You really, really got to get that together, dude. Narrow the stance up, shove the toe angle's fine, but you have to shove the knees out to match the toes. And get some squat shoes. He has kind of
Yeah.
those weird flat feet where the ankle like is basically inside of the foot.
Yeah, almost like a collapsed arch type thing.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. How am I sorting this? Am I going by new? We'll go by top. See what happens for top for this week. Oh, here we go. He's broken to the 1,000-pound club finally. Chase, when did you hit the 1,000-pound club? Were you like 16?
Probably.
Probably even younger, 15. All right, so he's squatting what seems to be like 355. And it's very easy. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Unless this is a set of 5. It's not. Damn it. Oh, here we go.
Easy.
Oh, we get to see the whole meet, dude. Here's 225. Pause. That was hard. Somebody needs to bench more.
I don't know why you paused either. I mean, but
it's comp, dude. It's comp.
I guess so.
All right, he has strappies on. Eliminated, and this also seems to be 355 or no 365 maybe. Yeah, this guy really needs to learn how hard lower body training works. His squat and deadlift were like RPE 7. That was not
like
that
last
hard.
Warm-ups
That
before
was
you actually did your attempts.
That was attempt 1. I mean, look at this squat. I kind of expected with how slow the walkout was that this was going to be a grinder. But just watch this again. Really slow brace, fast descent, 1 Mississippi, 2 Miss. Yeah, a little bit under 2 seconds.
Super easy.
Super easy. Okay, this one's going to be good. By Julius. Squat form check. Ignore the shoes. I'm getting new shoes soon. This is an emaciated man.
Very.
Very. That's awesome. This is what I think I look like, Chase.
This was like every single fucking rock climber that I had to go against. It was him.
Yeah, this is ideal rock climbing physique. Just add 3 pounds of like bicep, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, more forearm girth, and you're good.
Oh man, do you see the bar? I don't know if you can see this, Chase, but the bar is literally popping off his back at the top.
Yeah, I see it a little bit.
You can see that?
Uh-huh.
Man, my man. He is all about the bar speed here. He is thrusting hard at lockout. Yeah, so when we talk about GoMad, everybody, this is who we're talking about. This man needs like an IV connection to a Calves tit constantly for the next 2 years of his life. Man, what would you if you had to address Julius outside of telling him to start eating food? and get out of whatever concentration camp he's living in.
Just man, like eat everything in sight. I mean, that's gonna be super simple. Like, just don't worry about tracking anything. Yes, you
Hmm.
do need to have a caloric intake, but you're at the point where like it's okay to eat like a fucking chocolate cake
Yeah.
on
He
top of a
didn't say a
gallon of milk.
piece. He said a
Yeah,
cake. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. In terms of the squat itself, you're fine. Just I care so little about your form and your situation. It's not funny.
Mm,
All right, this is Miguel lifts. I think we've seen some stuff from Miguel before, actually. I think he sent a deadlift in, and we've also seen him on the Reddit.
yeah, because that gym
Hmm.
kind of looks familiar with all the goofy ass people in it.
Hmm. Yeah, I like the whenever gyms do boxing stuff in the background, like people just want to recreationally train for boxing. I really
Yeah.
like that a lot. This guy has a long torso and some little stubby
Hmm.
femurs. He has one more in him. All right, Chase, what do you think for our boy Miguel here?
All in all, not bad, but there's some slight knee slide in the bottom there. He's kind of just bouncing off his knees.
Hmm.
I'd like to see a little bit more knees forward at the start. So as soon as he initiates the squat, he's going to break his hips and knees at the same time, but he's going to tell himself to actually get his knees over his toes a little bit faster. And then, like right there, kind of slow, you can kind of see that they're just kind of constantly creeping forward.
Hmm.
And there again, kind of bounces a little bit. If he has his knees just a little bit more forward, that's going to stop that little knee bounce. He's actually going to feel that kind of like that tightness in his hamstrings and have that bounce more solidified back in
Yeah,
his hips.
really reach back with your butt. With such a
Hmm.
long torso, it's very easy to go way deeper than you need to go.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's it. I think there was one thing that bothered me at the top. I think it's on this rep right here. Um, some people they'll get really focused on finishing with their chest at the top, and they'll almost lean back a little bit, and the bar will roll down just from them trying to get too vertical at the top. It happens here. Yeah, so his balance shifted backwards as he got more vertical because a little bit of the whip in the bar. It's a pretty small thing to see, but he goes from like here totally fine, and then whoop, rocks backwards. And I really want to sort that out because if that's 455, it's not going to be good for you. Um, oh man, this guy looks like he is a political activist.
Hmm.
This is NJ Salazar. Okay, he's in a hurry.
He's got to go do those community outreaches, you know.
He's got to go put some flyers up. Oh man. All right, how would you help your boy Salazar here?
So it's kind of similar to Miguel, just different anthropometry here. He's just kind of again getting into his knees too much.
Mm-hmm.
So making him lean over, shoving his ass back. Like a good cue would be like his shoulders and his knees just have to touch. So at the bottom, you see that his shoulders actually go back and his knees go away from him. So if those 2 points can kind of come together and his ass just stays back, this will solve this.
Yep. Yeah, in terms of pacing, you could really get away with this now.
Hmm.
I think this is 70 pounds, 75
Maybe,
pounds,
yeah.
something like that. I can't tell if those are 2.5s or 5s. But yeah, man. So in terms of the pacing, once you're at the top, you want to take a second, take another breath in, clamp down on that breath, call it bracing, and then you start the next rep. This also gives you time to think about what you're doing, right? So it's not like you start the activity and you don't think until the activity's done. You do rep 1, you can rally in your brain before rep 2 and think what was good, what was shit, what am I doing? Do your rep, rally for rep 3, so on and so forth. Yeah, you want to take advantage of that time. Oh man, what a good username! This guy's Hounds of Love. Hounds of Love
Hounds
27
of
here.
love.
Yeah, man. You guys start calling your dogs that, dude.
Hounds of love. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And just have them attack couples in public. If you ever see a nice teenage couple, just sick your Great Dane on
Just
them.
no PDA.
None. Mm-mm. Okay, these are way better than I expected.
Hmm.
I'm going to be honest. What do you think about these, Chase?
Man, these are pretty solid. I like his gaze probably to be a little bit closer to him, so he
Uh-huh.
can kind of lean over a little bit more. But other than that, I mean, slap on a bar tracker and this guy is gold.
Yeah. I thought, honestly, I thought the stance was going to fuck him up. He's standing very narrow.
Yeah, he is.
You know, like if we all understands, he's like that's maybe 6 to 7.5 inches between his heels right there. That's fucking nothing. So that was a big surprise. Oh man, this looks like such a good video. All right, squat form check, please. I had to deload a month into the program after realizing I'd been doing high bar the whole time. That is an interesting route to take. This is a minute-long video. Minute and 31 seconds. Hopefully it's a few sets. It's a very severe toe angle. We'll start with that. Lots of leaning. Yes. Oh, buddy. Perfect. Oh, dude. No. What are you doing, dog?
Why is he so slow?
Can you see what's happening to his feet and his?
Yeah, he's just basically fucking on the outside edges of his feet, and he's trying to squat.
Can you see? Is this full screen now, Chase, for you?
Yeah, he's literally rolling his feet.
This is amazing. Him. Oh my god, I've never seen something this dramatic before in my life.
I think I may have seen it one time in person, and it's just a quick like, "Hey, don't do that." And they're like, "Why?"
Have you tried not making it hard on purpose?
Yeah. Like,
oh my god.
You're fucking up your shoes, man. You're walking on the outside of your shoes.
Yeah, this is crazy. I'm gonna try and pause this once he sets the knees out to the side, just so we can see this angle. Right there. Do you see how far outside? There's the whole thing is tilted so dramatically. That's amazing. Yeah, dude, just stop doing all of this. If you're trying to he's trying to do everything as much as possible. So he's trying to get his toes out as much as he can, his knees out as much as he can. He's trying to lean over. He's going to lean over a solid 2 seconds. One Mississippi. Okay. About a whole second before his knees start. Hot damn. Can you imagine seeing that in the gym, Chase? If you were unfamiliar with starting strength content, I mean, like, what the fuck?
I don't know, man. I'd probably be like, that guy probably has a good squat or some shit. Because, like, if I had no idea what a squat was, like, if I myself have never been squatting, don't know what a model looks like, I'm probably going to go for that, dude. I'm not going to lie. I probably
will. But it looks like he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
How about that? It looks like this is some sort of weird, crazy kung fu tempo squat. This looks some sort of like Shaolin monk-esque. Yeah, here we go. Finally, this is what you've been teaching this whole time. He's just doing it all extra. This is like 150% extra.
Yeah, he's going above and beyond.
What do you think the comments say here? Here we go. Sir. Oh, man, I love when people say sir on Reddit. Hello, sir. You, sir. Classic overthinker. And then he just tells him, yep, there we go. You're not wrong. I do overthink. Confirmed. Are you rolled the outsides of your feet? There's way less shit talking in here than I expected. That's pretty great. Good job, everybody.
Well, I saw something about stretching and mobility. Scroll up a little bit right there.
Your hips need to be more under you when first engaging. Brace your core and bring your chest up. Work on shoulder mobility. Don't look down. All right, this whatever, man.
Because clearly shoulder mobility is the cause.
Imagine seeing that and thinking number two, shoulder mobility.
Yeah.
Oh, work on your ankle mobility. That's an interesting one. There's a lot of ankle mobility.
He's doing that. Trust me. He's fucking getting a bunch of ankle mobility.
That guy has very mobile ankles.
Yeah.
He really does. Okay, here we go. Chase, what do you think if someone has a condo gym but no squat rack? What should they do?
Oh, man. I think we had this issue whenever, like, government shutdown kind of first happened. Like, we had some guys in, like, third story, fourth story apartments. It's hard, man. Like, you have to do something with some padding, really make your floor as absorbable as possible if you're in a deadlift. Like with a squat, a press, a bench, all that stuff, you're fine. But with a deadlift, it's almost near impossible, especially at that height, because you're going to get a call from maintenance and be like, what the fuck is happening?
Dude, stop it. Yeah. Are you having fat people jump up and down in your apartment all day? Yeah. Man, oh, God. Yeah. So if you're doing it with the condo gym, I was actually in this situation as well. So whenever I squatted, I would just have to go to a separate gym. That's it. I would do
Cool.
all of my deadlifting, all of my upper body work, all the bodybuilding shit, all of that in the condo gym, squat elsewhere. That's all you got to do. Man, best replacement for the program. He's not kidding. Squats are the cornerstone of the program. A back squat can may not be done without a squat rack. Confirmed. What about Steinborn squats? Zurcher squats? A lot of good options here. Man, my gym doesn't want me deadlifting anymore.
So is he kind of
Joker.
worried about? So this guy on the Reddit, is he worried that like he won't have spotters?
I just don't think he
his
just
rack?
literally doesn't have a squat rack. That's all.
I mean, fuck, man. There's several videos about like a DIY, squat stands and stuff like that. Like it's super simple.
Yeah.
Like he could probably do something like that.
Yeah, in my condo gym, I brought a deadlift. They had a big open space. I brought a piece of plywood in and put some horse stall mats on it. The people who run your condo do not give a shit.
No.
They're not going to be like, is someone putting extra equipment in our gym? They don't. They don't care.
As long as money's coming in, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. Yeah, no one's going to be like, did you put a squat rack in the gym? Damn you. All right, here we go. LePoof 2020. Oh, man. I told him DIY, but he isn't motivated. Our boy Joka, spread the good word. Yeah, man. Hey, if you don't want to squat, I couldn't squat for a long time in the pandemic. I would just put my wife on my back and I would have her hold with straps, like big water jugs on her side, and she had a backpack on. So I could get it up to like, she weighs like 120 some pounds. I could get it up to like maybe 180, 200. I would have a backpack on as well. And I would just do like 20s, 25s, just do a ton of.
So how is your wife resting on your shoulders? Is it like the classic, like little kid sitting on top of your shoulders?
Yeah. It's like I'm carrying a child around the supermarket.
Okay, gotcha.
And it felt like a safety bar squat, which was actually nice because you just hold on to her calves,
her legs and stuff,
in front of you. Oh man! And then just millions of lunges, just so many fucking lunges. Yeah. All right, so why did this guy bail on the squat chase?
He is just going way too damn slow. He is kind of just overthinking like that one guy, but the majority of it is just he is not setting his back. He's not staying rigid as he is getting the bounce.
Okay, so the unrack was pretty unsure. He kind of think he may have hit the rack on the when he was taking the bar out. Very fast rep 1, trying to keep the chest up. Rep 2. Yeah, the second it gets hard, he just drops it immediately. Yeah. He had the rep. And the big thing there is back extension where you're driving from. One of the reasons that we like to drive from the hips is because you feel like you have a lot of leverage to pull the bar up. It almost feels like you're trying to pull the bar up to some extent. Like when your hips are in position, you've driven your hips up a little bit and you're just fighting for it with the back. It'll feel like almost like a little bit of a deadlift. You can really grind through that. If you're doing just kind of quads out of the hole, very chest up, it's kind of hard to grind, Yeah, and he also has his mirror right there so he can look right into his own eyeballs as he's lifting. Man, I think that's a big problem. I would move the mirror, What do you think people said here, Chase? What's your bet?
Probably I'm gonna say hopefully they told him the same thing that we're kind of telling him. Drive the hips, stay tight, move the mirror out of the way. But
here we go. Yeah. Oh, this is a starting strength coach. Sick. Drive your hips up, get rid of the mirror, great progress. Confirmed. No hip drive here. I'm a big fan of this. Everybody, I think this is a mental block. I like that a lot. Chase, how often are you saying the word bro in real life nowadays?
Not that much, but that guy was just going full on shrink, man. He's like, I think you have some anxiety or
he is.
Fuck, I don't know.
We're gonna dig into this, everybody. I think this is an account that only posts on starting strength. That's pretty sick. He made an account just for this. And so it's all starting strength and then one Breaking Bad post where he said Wendy was ride or die. So there you go.
A solid guy.
He's a pretty solid guy. Here we go, Chase. We got a question for the gang. Joker John Carr, he said my press stopped progressing at 72.5. Chase recommended me to continue with the NLP. The press was the last lift. Now I need to cut. I need diet tips. This question did not go where I expected it to.
No.
I'm 30% BF.
So I mean, John Carr, if you're that heavy, I mean, you can just stand to just keep your protein high, and then just modify the carbs and the fats that you're eating. I'd probably just get a caloric intake of how much you're actually eating. So track it for about 5 days, 4 days, and then you kind of see the baseline of, okay, I'm either eating the same thing in the mornings, I'm fucking up at lunch because I'm going out after, my work lunch, I'm eating this, I'm eating that. But dinner is relatively the same. Then you need to kind of control your lunch. And at that point, you can kind of just modify the amount of carbs you're eating. So if you're drinking like soda with your meals, take out the soda. If you're eating a shit ton of rice with a bunch of butter in it, take out the butter and rice. Modify the portions and stuff like that.
Do you do butter in your rice, Chase?
Um, no, I haven't in a while, but I think the last time I had it was a few days ago, and it kind of made me real sad because I miss it.
Dude, butter and a ton of salt and rice.
Fucking amazing.
What else do you need, man?
It is pretty damn amazing.
What else do you need? That kept me alive through college, I think. Like, literally, I would put 4 cups. I had a big rice maker. I would put 4 dry cups of rice in a rice maker and just toss a stick of butter in and be like,
Jesus
this is fine.
Christ. Yeah.
And let it cook.
So you just made popcorn.
Yeah, I
but with
basically
your
just made
rice.
popcorn rice. Yeah. I was burning so many calories a day, man. I needed it.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, so we have SC 2002 SC, which means she was probably born in 2002, which means she's 20 now, if my math is correct. Chase, what year were you born?
98.
98. So you're a 90s baby as well, man. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How would you fix this squat? What would you tell this young lady?
Definitely go wider with your stance because this looks pretty damn narrow.
Yep.
And kind of similar to like the guy previous, he's just getting all bunched up before you actually hit the bottom there. So now that you have a wider stance, you're going to kick out your toes, your knees are going to go out, and you're just going to think about that the whole entire time. It just, the thighs have to have room in between them as you come up and down.
Yeah, we want to have room for your torso and for your hips. Just get your legs out of the damn way. Yeah, that's pretty solid. There's Julius again.
Oh shit, this is intense.
Oh, dude, this is a zoom, and he has a mustache. Fuck.
Does it keep zooming in?
Oh, no, it's zooming out
now. Out.
Sick. What a deadlift by Thunderbolt Fitness. He's going to cuck you to the sound of thunder. And this is 145.
I don't understand how people fuck up like the eyes and stuff. Like, this is the one weird thing that I don't understand is like in this position, you can clearly feel like your neck is rounding. And like being a human, if I feel my neck is rounding, there's like some primal thing of like, hey, I should not do that.
Do you mean his chin's going down?
Yeah, he has a bunch of cervical flexion, right? Like he's here. Like in this position, like this does not feel comfortable in my neck. But he's like,
here
you know
we go,
what?
boys. This will be a good one. All right, go gym, lift weight. Posted this to form check and starting strength. I don't know, Chase. I have a lot of guys who deadlift with a pretty tucked chin.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. They're all hunchy people. I think I deadlift with a pretty tucked chin, frankly.
Like they're kyphotic a little bit, or what?
Basically, it's like as you're going, like these guys just start really cranking down, you know. Head will start here and then they'll just go down a little bit to finish. I think a lot of powerlifters do that too. They'll try to really sit behind the bar at the finish of the pull, you know. All right, so this gentleman, he says he can't squat with the empty barbell without bad form or knee pain. Any tips on what to do? What do you think, Chase?
Man, I'm going to be honest. You need to lose some weight.
Or get stronger while losing weight.
That's going to be kind of the big one. Like, you got to think. I think there was we just had an intro or like a consultation with someone who came into the gym, and same thing. Like, his knees kind of just habitually always hurt. It's because this guy is just severely overweight, and then now you go and you try to do normal human activities, but now it's overweight and just a lot of wear and tear on the joints. I mean, you don't look that old, but still, like if you're, let's say if you had some prior athletic history with you playing sports and stuff like that, you've been running, jumping with carrying all this weight, It's not a good idea.
Yeah, just massively detrained. That's what it is.
Yep.
Like the toes are coming off the ground, so I would start by widening the stance for sure. The video that you're looking for, it's called Squat Training the Elderly, Starting Strength. Squat Training the Elderly, and it basically, I think it's Bo Bryant, if I remember correctly. He takes a guy who hasn't squatted before. He's a very old guy. He sits him down on some plates and then works the squat up from the bottom up. I think that would be very helpful for you. I think you have the quads to get out of there, but it's just going to take you a little bit to kind of adjust with the knee pain. 355 for a set of 5 here. Let's see how this goes. And this is lift, jits, bills. Oh man, these are the 3 things this guy is interested in. Lifting, BJJ, a guy named Bill. Fuck. What would your username be, Chase? If you had to triage that, if you had to do 3 things.
3 things, man. Let's go with like 2 elements. So iron, wood.
Iron, insulin.
Iron, wood, and insulin. Yes.
Iron, wood, and insulin. And then all of that will be in parentheses divided by Phoebe. That's what it would be. There we go. This guy has the Jocko flag behind him too. That's pretty sick. You got to start getting into the Jocko stuff, Chase.
Man. Like I'm, thanks for your service, Jocko, and stuff like that. But like, you lifting at 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. doesn't make you a better person than me. Like, yeah, okay, it may be harder, but you clearly don't understand the stress recovery adaptation cycle, how to best maximize that and actually get better results. But hey, you've made a killing off of the way you're doing it. So
listen, man, you got to wake up at 4 a.m. You have to divorce your wife, dip your balls in ice, and then take a cold shower. Then you're ready to lift. That's how it goes every day. This guy's squats are I think they're fine. The upper back is doing stuff a little bit weird. I think the bar is slightly low, and he's focused a little bit too much on keeping the wrist straight. I think he would do him some favors to kind of pull the wrist down a little bit. Otherwise, do you think the toe angle is too wide, or the squat or the stance is too wide? Because his knees are tracking the inside of his toes, but he could just kind of have weird. He could just have those weird kind of collapse arches we were talking about before. What do you think?
I think maybe due to like the elbows losing positioning, the shoulder blades losing position, it's kind of just pushing everything forward because the bar is not stable.
Yeah.
Maybe, but me personally, I probably would fix his stance. I'd probably scooch it in like an inch or so.
Agreed for sure. Man, if this secretly was Jocko. Jocko. Oh man. Yeah, not too bad. Foo Fighters, Yawn. Oh, nice. The what's his name? Our
Byron.
UK coach. Yeah, Byron. Have you met Byron?
Yeah.
Nice. Is he tall and very handsome?
He's a solid chap.
So is he just kind of the opposite of Carl?
Yes, he is.
Okay,
He's white.
So morphologically, they're just very different.
Yes. Everything.
That's good. They have a wide spread then in the UK. Okay, this guy's the Plantain Poppy. That's a good name. All these names are really good.
That's a solid one.
That's a good one. Did you were you on the platform for Byron?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had him on the bench, which I feel like no one really fails the bench. So he did a good job with the bench. And clearly everything else, that's why he passed.
And clearly. Very good point.
This is what I'm looking for, man. People squatting, puppies.
Mm-hmm. The dog is really trying to play with him the whole time. It's like, dude, drop that fucking weight. One of my new clients, actually, he does the same exact thing. He got kind of psyoped into thinking that your hips need to be 10 miles behind you. He'll hold the knees back really dramatically, and it's like a tempo squat until the very bottom, and then the knees will come forward.
Yeah.
And it's just rough. It's just really rough on the knees. Yeah, so get your knees on your toes, get your shoulders on your knees. Chase says something to that effect all the time. What do you think this is? What machine is this, Chase?
Um,
Is that
what is
it?
it,
I
like a
don't think it's a.
T-bar row? Or what do you call that? You know
Oh,
where
that
like
could
you
be the
lay,
base of the T-bar row.
yeah,
Yeah.
where you put your feet on it.
He has a whole cable machine in here too. This is a pretty sick gym setup, dude. All right, plantain poppy. You're initiating with hip movement. Needs to have to catch up. Confirmed. This is a safety nightmare by Bloopin Battery.
What makes it a safety nightmare? Because the dog
Oh
will do
man,
some
there's
shit.
so well. You got a dog going on. You got a dog, bunch of shit on the ground.
Let's say fuck it, dude. It's his gym.
Fuck it, man. Yeah, he's ready to die at any moment.
He's plantain poppy. He does whatever the fuck he wants.
I don't know how big plantains are. I really don't.
Like large bananas.
Large bananas?
Yeah.
Good. That could also be your username, Chase, if you did large banana
Large
dad,
bananas.
large banana father, the white guy version. All right. Let's watch this guy. This is the OK Exchange
Was that the
3959.
same kid that was trying to do the power cleans?
This could be that power clean kid. I'm not sure. This is kind of blast from the past. This guy looks like he's from my middle school.
Who is the middle school? Was it like a bully or something
He
like
just
that? Does
looks
he remember the bully?
he looks like the very generic child from middle school.
Yeah.
He could
okay,
be
yeah,
like
we could say that.
24. I
Yeah.
don't know. We had some new guy come to judo who I legitimately thought was like a 17-year-old. He was like very shy, wasn't making a lot of eye contact. I thought he was just kind of a nervous teenager. He's
Mhm.
25
Jesus
and has a
Christ.
job and lives by himself. And I was like, what the fuck?
What
Just
does he do?
baby faced,
Yeah.
no facial hair whatsoever. I
Oh,
was like, he could
bullshit.
just be lying to us. He could just be lying. I don't know. Yeah. All right, how would you fix this guy's OK Exchange? How would you fix his squat?
Cut it off for one, squat a little bit higher, and then
Mhm.
lean over a little bit faster.
Yeah. More lean, cut it off, keep your head down. And
Yeah.
then we got to weigh on how fat John Carr should be. John Carr, he says he's 264 at 5'11. Man, I don't actually think John's super muscular. He's kind of pressing like 170. He's pressing 72 kilos right now.
So that's like 155, 160-ish.
He's pressing a little bit over 160. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're that muscular. So like you're not going to be a fucking shredded 220.
No.
You know, especially at 5'11. You may unironically, if you go down, let's say if you were like competition lean, just dick skin all over your body, you may unironically be 170 pounds, 160, more like it, you know. Yeah, you got a long way to go.
I wouldn't worry about an actual weight on the scale. Just recomposize and just focus on getting fucking stronger, and then dial back how much you're eating with the carbs and fats, and I think you'll be fine. Like he said, he squatted 205, deadlifted 215, and then bench pressed 120.
Are these singles or a working set, John?
I'm gonna guess they're singles.
Oh, nice. Do you remember the guy who did the 1,000-pound club?
Oh yeah.
He's going for his press. We can watch him press 137 for 4. Okay. He's on his toes the whole damn time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, still very fast off the chest. What do you think, Chase?
Yeah, these aren't bad. Like me personally, I'd get the fuck away from like the uprights. I think that's silly whenever people do it like that, because it's just, if you need a bail or anything like that, you're kind of just stuck. And then 2, widen out the stance more. I want you to have a little bit more of a better base here, and you have to think about throwing a particular part of your body forward. So like your pockets, your bladder, because there you're kind of just laying back and you're creating some separation with the bar there. Let the bar stay underneath your chin, your pockets go forward, everything else will be nice, man.
All right, so we have a very good question, and then also John Carr. He said those are for singles, and then his press was for 5. Yeah, man. I mean, at 264, at 5'11, that I think you can legitimately lose 70 pounds and then still have fat to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Chase was saying, if you focus on scale weight, you're going to drive yourself crazy. Focus on recomposition. Stop being such a fat ass. Pull it down slowly, and then just keep lifting. I don't think his strength gains are going to stop at all.
Probably not.
Yeah, like when you have that many abundant resources, it's kind of hard to slow down. Really anything. This is a very interesting. Upper body is not my strong suit. Sorry, buddy. This is an interesting question. I want to hear your take on this, Chase.
So G-Lock, how do I keep the hips from pressing 2.0 from turning into a layback? So
Good catch on the quotes.
Yeah, we got to do the escape quotes. So he what he's saying is like, as someone's pressing, they've thrown their hips, and on the way up, people kind of just lay back. Like I kind of do this. A bunch of women will do this and stuff like that. Now there's always going to be an element of the laid back present. Now there can be an excessive amount, like kind of you're getting into like my realm, and again like more petite women and stuff like that, and some guys will get into that. That's kind of the bad part, because now you're kind of sacrificing this degree of layback in order to get the bar back over the shoulders, and you're using more muscle mass. So there's some pros and cons to this and stuff like that. But essentially, we want you to have just a small little bit of layback, keep the bar relatively over the shoulders as you press, and then use your upper body to lock the thing out, right? So you may need to think about, G-Lock, how your stance is, kind of like the guy previous. So what I've seen is like the wider the stance is, the less reach I'm going to have with my hips, and the less, I guess, option I'm going to have from keeping them out, because of just how tight this wall of anterior muscle is, as I widen out my stance. And then two, flex the abs. Kind of think about that too. Make sure that you're setting that you're wearing a belt. And lastly, to see where the bar is ending up at. So if you're pressing away from you, make sure that you're hitting your nose, you're brushing your hair back, giving the bar somewhere to go.
Man, I've thought about this a lot. I think this would make a good board exam question for someone to give a very pedantic definition as to the difference between pressing with your hips, doing an Olympic press, and then laying back. Like technically, how would you separate these? It's a very interesting one. I think not a petite woman. Oh man. But yeah, so I think that in terms of definitions, what we're looking at with the layback is the lower back, thoracic spine moving into more severe extension as you press the bar up while they are being displaced behind the hips. So if you have the hips and then you have your back here, if it starts to go into more and more and more extension as it falls behind the hips, that's layback. I think it is fundamentally different than what we're doing with the hips press, because what we're advocating for on the Olympic press is the hips being displaced forward, taking the same orientation of the spine with it, and then the hips rebounding backwards. I think sometimes we think about it with hips rebounding backwards, it's kind of more the shoulders rebounding forwards. But essentially, if the hips go forward and don't return to their original position, you are just doing a layback. So what a lot of lifters will do is they'll get a little bit of a bounce with the arms. All they need is just this to happen with their arms. They'll get bounce from this flesh and from this, and then the hips will go forward, and then they'll fall into the layback. They'll think it's a hips press. Whereas in reality, what's happening is that the whole body is getting shorter as the hips move forward, the shoulders come back, and then you're getting taller again. Everything, you're getting shorter and then taller. As you get taller, you're riding that extension up as you press the bar. In terms of avoiding it, I think it's thinking about the position of your hips. If the hips have returned to position, you're not going to lay back, because if they have and you lay back, you fall backwards, right? Because if the hips are back over the middle of your foot and then you put your torso back, you'll just fall backwards. The only way to not fall backwards is to throw mass forward, and then that's just doing a layback. Does that make sense, Chase?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's hard, but I think And plus, I would like to see a video too, G-Lock, about how you're pressing, because you could just be initiating this with just shoulders back and not actually getting the bounce from the lats incorporated into this. I think, yeah, a lot of people will do that too. Or what Calix was saying is like they'll kind of just crash it on them in order to hope for this bounce instead of actually throwing the hips forward. And then kind of like Bree does this a little bit, where she's terrible at the actual throwing the hips portion forward, but she will just cause separation, and then she uses her upper body, more of her chest, to kind of get the thing back up, which isn't as what the model calls for, but she just needs to kind of relearn how to press a little bit.
It's just it's another strategy to get the bar up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So two things that I really like that I'm going to steal the terminology. You said a hard crash, just crashing the bar into you and then using that as a bounce. I think a ton of people do that, like you said. And the next thing is separation. A lot of people will be eager to separate. And I've seen that in Breeze presses before. That's actually a really good point. Essentially, it's just there's a jolt, and then the chest shoots backwards, and then the arms extend a little bit. You have that separation, and then you can ride that up. I don't think that's exactly the Olympic press. Man, you should write an article on that, Chase.
I still need to kind of corral some terms and some thoughts, but this kind of made more sense to me whenever I actually started jerking. Not like in the morning, but whenever I was lifting on the platform.
Do you a morning jerker? Do you do AMs to start the day?
That's only crazy people.
Okay. I've done many a time, man. For productivity, I'll wake up and I'll be like, man, it's going to be a great day.
Got to start out right.
Start out good.
But with the jerk, right, you're creating an oscillation in the bar, and you're riding this oscillation up, and you're completing it with a lockout, right, in one seamless motion. I try to incorporate with the press. Now you're able to kind of use your triceps a little bit more, and there's no stipulation about in one seamless motion with the press. It just has to lock out, which is fine. But if you kind of think in terms of more of like a jerk or in one smooth motion from the shoulders to overhead, this will help kind of clarify some of the issues with like prolonging your hips out in front, or all these other things that I brought up earlier about like the separation or crashing or anything like that. Does that make sense? Have you kind of?
That does make sense. No, yeah. I like that. I like that a good bit. I think we may explore this the next episode. Actually, I'm gonna. You know what I'm gonna do? So G-Lock, he just sent me videos of the press. I'm gonna grab his video and a bunch of my other guys pressing. You grab some videos of
press deep dive
of you pressing, of you Chase _ Lindley, and then some of your guys, boys and girls, pressing in Oklahoma, and then we'll see. Because I think there certainly is a school of people who just shoot for separation immediately, and they'll end up going like out here every single time. And I've noticed that a ton. I used to do that a lot versus treating it like a jerk. Yeah. Have you been playing around with push press at all, Chase? By the way.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yep. Has that been informative for you?
In terms of like helping my press, or just.
In terms of just kind of figuring out how to make it one solid, smooth motion.
Yeah, because again,
not pressing it out, just floating it and catching it.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why people use it for, the Olympic stuff is that there's that transfer over into the jerk of that sudden, flex in the bar, and then you ride that up, right? And again, but on the push press, of course, you don't have to do it in one motion. But the more that you can get that sudden oscillation happening and going, the easier it is to lock out the load. And yeah, I've kind of noticed that too, where it's a little bit awkward kind of going back into the hips motion after push pressing for a little bit, but the snap, the sudden start of the press is way more cleaner, I think.
Okay. Stuff to think about, everybody. Stuff to think about. Chase, what's been going on your social media? Have you posted anything in the past since we talked last 2 weeks ago?
I think I posted like just some training clips and stuff like that.
Did you put your sick rock climbing videos under there?
No, I haven't.
No? Damn. Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's see what's going on. Oh, a deadlift? We got one single at 710. Sick.
I got a deadlift, I think a snatch, a clean and jerk, and then a squat.
We're putting this up, everybody. Here we go. Dude, what a guy. Fast as hell. You got the full diaper going on too. I love that.
Yeah, man. I always lift with my shorts rolled up like that.
That's pretty sick.
I don't think it actually does anything, but the guy who used to train me did that, and I was like, man, this guy's really strong. So I'm just gonna like monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah, man, you gotta wear the diaper, dude. You gotta do that.
Yeah.
I only would do that for squats, and it's not helpful for squats.
Nah,
It's helpful
it
for the
doesn't do anything.
deadlift.
Yeah.
It's
It's just like a
All right.
mental clarity. I even do it on my cleans. Like it's something weird, man.
Yeah, diaper me up, dude. You gotta start getting into the gay sports like me. You gotta start touching dudes. You gotta start wearing little clothing, touching dudes. All right, we got a
That was 165. Yep.
Pretty sick.
It was all right. So I've been kind of messing around with trying to stretch out my upper body. So I've been kind of strapping into my front squats here recently. Jesus Christ, it hurts so fucking bad. But
man,
I gotta get beat on my lats.
Yeah. Yeah, the catch here. Way to fight through that with the elbows. Good job, dude. All right, let's see what else we got going on. So we got a squat. 3 singles at 615. Sick. Dude, beautiful. What more can it? Was that single 1 or single 3?
I think that was my first.
That was first single? Yeah. That's pretty sick, dude. You know what? I think you have a relatively conservative toe angle as well. I think a lot of people really overdo the toe angle.
Yeah.
Really overdo it.
Well, I think this happened a few years ago of like, I think I tweaked an adductor or something, and I kind of never really messed with it too much after that. Like I slowly kind of crept it out a little bit, but it never really affects me too much.
Yep. There he goes. Is he coming back?
Yeah.
He's back. Can you start if you're meat? Can you roll the bar backwards to start at the back, or does it have to start?
I think you can. I don't know for sure, but hopefully it's the former because I'm gonna.
You should ask.
Yeah.
Every attempt to roll the bar backwards and then get
start
set up
at the edge.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. If you can get your heels off the platform at the end, you'll have such a long runway. Man, nice shoes chase by Verber. Sick. All right. I think that's it, everybody. What else do we got going on here? That's Chase's Instagram. That's my website. If we want emails on the show, email support at Strength Out Club. Any parting shots for everybody, Chase?
No, just get out there and train.
All right. We're doing the press episode next. That's exciting.